Remember what the teacher said? I before E, except after C, or neighbor or way.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Ken. I forgot. Stop it, Flicka. You're making me miss. What's the next word?
That's all in this lesson. You're a good girl, Rosebud. I finished all the milking, Grandma Dobbs. Anything else you need before I go?
Oh, thank you, Ken. You've done enough. You know, I don't know how he would have managed without your help, since Willie's been sick with a quinsy sore throat.
It's just helping a neighbor. You'd do the same for us.
Oh, I just remembered. I've run out of those wild rosemary leaves that I've been doctoring Willie's throat with.
I'll pick you some at the creek and bring them right back.
Oh, that's fine, Ken. Thanks.
Here, Willie. Young fella, you're really in a mess. So take it easy. I'll have you out of here in a jiffy. Where's your mother? Are you lost? Beat it now. Go on. You better find your mother. Stay away from this bridge. Go on. Go on now. Go home. Go on now. Go home. Grandma Dobbs.
Oh, thank you, Ken. Looks like you brought something else, too.
You again. He must think that Flicka's his mother.
Oh, wouldn't a goat that big know his own mother?
Golly, he's cute. Where'd he come from? He followed us from the creek.
My, he's a gangling-looking young one. He must have wandered away from his mother and got lost.
Hello there, boy. He's not branded, and there's no markings on him. Do you think he's wild, Ken? Might be, though he's got good lines. Maybe nobody owns him.
He looks like a happy little goblin.
That's exactly what he looks like, Granny. He ought to be called Mr. Goblin.
It certainly fits him.
Hey, come back here! Do you think I could keep him? Ever since my horse Prince died, I've been wanting another one real bad.
Maybe he belongs to somebody, Willie.
But Flicka found him, Granny. I really think he's a wild one. A lot of horses wander around the range and are never claimed by anyone.
sure is a little troublemaker. Ken, you better take him back where he came from.
But he didn't mean any harm, Grandma. Please, can't I keep him? I want a horse of my own like Ken.
Well, I guess it's all right.
Yippee! I got a new horse. Oh, boy.
I wonder who those horses belong to. Never saw them around before. Hi, Mom.
Hello, darling. How's Willie Dobbs feeling?
Lots better.
That's good.
Dad! What are all those strange horses doing out in the back pasture?
Those are strays that Mr. Adams, the stock inspector, brought over from his ranch.
Captain, the men say that stray pinto belongs to him. What should I tell him?
Well, just a minute, Gus. I'll be right with you. I'm the acting stock inspector while Mr. Adams is away.
You mean you're the boss of the range?
Hardly that, dear. It just means that your father is responsible to the legal owners of any lost or stray stock, like the ones in the back pasture.
It'll take more time than I can spare, but I couldn't refuse to help Mr. Adams. He's away on an emergency trip.
Can Flick and I help you with the inspecting?
Sure. Gus is already my assistant. You can be the assistant assistant.
What about Flicka?
She can be the commissioner and keep an eye on all of us.
You didn't find Hannibal 5?
Not a sign of him, Mr. Hamilton. I can't figure out where he went to.
Afraid. Losing that colt is inexcusable. He's worth more than any 4 of the other yearlings.
I'm sorry, sir. A cougar or bear must have got him.
I don't believe that for a moment. Hannibal 5 was simply overlooked in the roundup. I consider you and your crew responsible.
Colt or two are bound to be missing at roundup time. He must have wandered away from Lady Spangle.
You're making excuses. Well, leave Lady Spangle out in the pasture. As long as she's out there, Hannibal 5 might come back to her. Unless someone's already found him or stolen him.
It's not branded. Anybody could claim him.
I've placed an advertisement in the Stockman's Journal offering a reward for his return.
This'll be swell for Willie to use as a lead bridle on Mr. Goblin. I used it on you, remember, Flicka?
Did you get the mail, son? I'm expecting the Stockman's Journal.
I forgot to bring it in the house. Still in my saddlebag. Dad, when are we going to have some more strays to inspect? It's fun.
I don't know. Soon as some more show up. Here's one. Sounds important, too. Hannibal 5, out of Lady Spangle by British champion sire Hannibal. Valuable thoroughbred colt, pure white, male, 6 months old, missing from range for 2 weeks. Has no brand or owner's identification marks. Reward offered for return. R. Jeffrey Hamilton, Box 17, Cooley Springs. That's the rancher over at Pine Flats. He breeds nothing but thoroughbreds.
Gee, he sounds just like Mr. Goblin.
Mr. Who?
Mr. Goblin. A white coat that Flicka found. Willie's got him.
Willie. Now, you should have told me about that, son. That's part of your job as assistant stock inspector.
Gee, I guess that's right, but we found him before you gave me the job.
Well, I should send a message to Mr. Hamilton. I guess I'll let you do that first thing in the morning.
Gosh, Flicka. If Mr. Goblin turns out to be that man's colt, Willie'll lose him. He's just going to feel terrible. And so will Mr. Goblin.
Yeah, there's not a doubt in my mind. He's Hannibal 5. Don't you agree, Mr. Inspector?
Well, according to your papers, it all seems to add up.
Are you sure Mr. Goblin belongs to you, sir?
Most certainly. And please refer to him by his proper name, Hannibal 5. Mr. Goblin's hardly suitable for a colt with his bloodline.
We weren't thinking of bloodlines when we gave him that name.
I'll take him along now, Inspector. I'm shipping him to England the day after tomorrow.
To England? That's clear across the ocean. I'll never see him again.
Come, young man, you're wasting my time. Here's $5 reward for finding Hannibal 5. Money always makes boys feel better.
I don't want any money. I want Mr. Goblin.
I know how you feel, Willie, but you just gotta let Mr. Goblin, Hannibal 5 go. It's the law.
Yeah, you take the money.
No, thank you, sir. It wouldn't make me feel any better either.
You ought to acquaint your son with the proper value of money, you know.
He knows the proper value of money, Mr. Hamilton.
I appreciate your help, McLaughlin.
Part of the job. I'll give you a hand.
Your grandma told me where you were going. What's the use, Willie? It'll only make you feel worse.
But I have to see him once more before he goes to England.
I'd kind of like to see him, too. Climb up behind me. Come on, Flicka. I know you'd like to see Mr. Goblin again. There it is, Willie. Boy, Mr. Hamilton sure is rich. Yeah, and mean, too.
Wait a minute, Ken.
What's the matter? Look! Look over there!
There's Mr. Goblin. What's he doing out here?
Gee, I don't know. A porcupine!
Look out, Mr. Goblin!
Watch out, Mr. Goblin!
That's Mr. Goblin, all right. Sticking his nose into everything.
And nearly getting it full of quills. Maybe he isn't going to be shipped to England after all. Yeah. Let's go find out.
Lady Spangle's as spooky as a filly. Fought all the way from the range. She didn't want to come in.
Turn her loose in this corral.
Come on, lady.
That's Mr. Goblin's mother. Come on. Let's tell Mr. Hamilton. No, wait. Let's see what they're going to do.
Get her colt. That ought to quiet her down.
What's he talking about? Her colt's out on the range. We just saw him.
soon as she calms down, we'll brand Hannibal 5 and get him ready for shipment.
If that's Mr. Goblin, who's the colt we saw out on the range?
I don't know. Something's awful funny.
Can they look exactly alike?
Watch. They act like they never saw each other before.
Mr. Goblin, come here. Mr. Goblin, come here. You know me all right, don't you, Mr. Goblin?
Mares always love and protect their colts. I just don't understand this. Unless he's not her colt.
Come on, we better tell Mr. Hamilton.
Lucky for you, we found Hannibal 5.
All right, Curly. I'll take over.
Mr. Hamilton! Mr. Hamilton! That's not Lady Spangle's colt in the corral. Her colt's out on the range. We just saw him.
You came all the way out here to tell me that? Go on home. Don't come around anymore.
But, Mr. Hamilton, I'm sure that...
The colt leaves Cooley Springs on the noon train tomorrow, as scheduled, and that's that.
Come on, Ken. It's no use. He won't listen.
Get on with the brandy.
But, Dad, Lady Spangle didn't know Mr. Goblin. I'm sure if Mr. Hamilton sees the other colt, he'll be convinced.
Now, just because you saw that colt this afternoon doesn't mean we can find him again by tomorrow morning, especially before train time.
But we gotta try for Willie's sake. He's all broken up about losing Mr. Goblin, just like I was the time those men stole Flicka.
Rob, you are the stock inspector. Maybe you did make a mistake.
All right, I'll go on one condition.
What's that?
That you and Flicka never let another stray follow you home again. Is that a deal?
It's a deal. He's gone.
I tried to tell you, son.
That colt could be in 101 different places by now.
He was right here yesterday. We gotta look some more. We shouldn't give up so easy.
Well, I've kept my end of the bargain, Ken. Gus and I have got a lot of work that can't wait.
Will you go to see Mr. Hamilton?
I'd be foolish to go up there without that colt to back me up.
I wouldn't want you to do that. I better go tell Willie. He's home waiting.
I guess you better. Tell him we'll get him another white colt.
Flicka, we're going to see Mr. Hamilton. I'm going to try just once more.
I told you to stay away from here.
Sir, as assistant to the assistant stock inspector, it is my duty to tell you that you are making a big mistake. You are shipping the wrong colt.
I'm a patient man, boy, but I've had just about enough of this nonsense.
But we found the real Hannibal 5. He's out on the range somewhere.
It's ridiculous.
You mustn't ship Mr. Goblin. He isn't Hannibal 5. I know he isn't.
Look, boss. The kid's mare's opening the gate.
Flicka, stop that! I'll get Lady Spangle for you.
Get the horses, we'll make sure.
Now you spoiled
strut, Mr. Hamilton, like she's looking for something. There's the white colt. I told you he was here.
Rattler. Hold it, Fred. If he's her colt, she'll take care of him.
I'll be hanged.
If I hadn't seen it myself, I'd never have believed it.
Now can Willie have Mr. Goblin back?
Huh? Oh, as far as I'm concerned, he can. But as stock inspector, the final decision rests with your father. Meanwhile, you get into Cooley Springs as fast as you can. Give this note to the station master. He'll turn Mr. Goblin over to you. Now get on before the train leaves.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. We're too late, Flicka. Mr. Goblin's gone.
Willie, don't cry. Ken and Flicka did all they could, but there was just no use.
Thanks for everything, Ken. It's okay, Willie. I guess I'd better get home now. Willie, look! Oh, Mr. Goblin! You came back! You came back! But he was on the train.
No, he wasn't. I went into town and got him.
How come?
Well, you convinced your father that something was wrong. It was a good thing for all of us that you did.
Well, if you'll pardon me, I think Ken is a better stockman than either of you.
Grandma's right. I sure am glad you're my best friend. Flicka made everything come out right by letting Lady Spangle out of the corral.